Alright, so we're gonna have multiplication and division of signs of numbers. So let's take a look at an example. Say that I want to multiply a -5 times a +3, and I want to know what the answer is going to be. Well, we know that 3 times 5 is 15. The question is, what should the sign of the number be? Well, a good way to remember is that we can use this idea of tic-tac-toe. This is a method that I learned not too long ago, and I found it very useful for most people whenever they're trying to figure out the signs. What we have to do is place positive signs along the diagonal of the tic-tac-toe, and then everything else that we have left, we're just gonna put negative signs on them. So here I'm gonna have a negative, 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 and negative. Now you notice that if I multiply a positive times a negative, the answer should be negative, or negative times a negative, the answer is positive. Positive times positive is positive. Positive times negative is negative. Negative times positive is negative, and so on. So you can really actually use this any way you want. As long as you go on a straight path, you can also go in the diagonal. So if we're multiplying a -5 times a +3, you're saying that you're multiplying a negative number times a positive number, and the answer should be negative. So that means that our answer is negative. So we have -15. Remember that the rules for multiplication and the rules for division are the same when it comes to signs. So for instance, let's say that I have the number -56. Let's see, 56, and we're dividing this -56 by a -7. We want to know what the answer is going to be for this. Well, we know that 56 divided by 7 is 8. The question is, what should the sign be? Well, we're dividing a negative number by a negative number. So if we take a look at this, we have a negative number divided by a negative number should be positive. So the answer here is positive. If you want, you write a plus sign, but really is not necessary. All you have to do is just write a +8. So therefore, our final answer is +8. So if we try this again, let's try this again with multiplication. Say that we have a -3 times a -5. Then you notice that we're multiplying a 3 times 5. We know that's 15. But the question is the answer positive or negative? Well, we're multiplying negative by a negative. And notice by the rules here, negative times a negative is a positive, or a negative times a negative is a positive. So the answer here should be positive. Now remember, we don't really need to use the positive symbol in front of the number because it's understood to be positive, so therefore I'll just leave it as 15. Now if I'm dividing, let's say 21 divided by a -3, we're dividing a positive number by a negative number, so the answer should be negative. And how do you know that? Well, a positive divided by a negative should be negative. Now 21 divided by 3, 7.